was listening to Your Sin by Nemesis, circa 1995.
Yes. Right. Yep.
This is Chris and Mike Show. I'm Chris. He's Mike. This is our show.
Episode
That's
number.
a lava lamp in his background, and that's just a regular lamp in mine. Is this 21?
Yes, sir.
21. Roll the dice. Snake eyes. 7, 11. 21. Blackjack. I was messing. I was mixing like craps and other shit with 21. 21. We're 2 episodes away from 23. You know,
the great Michael Jordan.
A pretty significant number in the world for some reason. It is the great Michael Jordan, the GOAT, G-O-A-T, the greatest of all time.
Yes, no question.
So what would you like to talk about today, Mr. Michaels?
So I'm going to pose you a question, being a parent and just somebody in the general public. This came up in conversation. It doesn't matter where. It could be my question. It might have been my question. I don't even know how it came up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I want your opinion on it.
Okay.
2 scenarios. So the first scenario is, and you're a parent of both a boy and a girl who are now a man and a woman, but went through your entire life as a baby to an adult. So they're about, let's say 15, 16. Actually, yeah, let's make it 16. And you come to find out that your son is having a relationship with, let's say, a 24-year-old hot-ass teacher at his high school.
Okay.
How does Chris Dunham, the man, answer that question? Take yourself out of the parent equation.
Because, well, here's the thing. Because the double standard, boys and girls, a boy, 16-year-old boy diddling a 24-year-old female teacher as a man. This is going to sound totally like an asshole, but as a man, you're like, whoa, nice job, son. You know, or nice job, kid. Like, whoa, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a trophy.
Because, you know, back when. Yeah, because back when I was in high school, right? Like I was 16 as a freshman. My freshman year, I was 16. I was driving. So junior year in March, I turned 18, and back then, it never crossed my mind that everybody that I was dating was 17, 16 years old, especially when I was a senior. Because then a senior, I was 19. So literally, my entire senior year and half of my junior year, I was, for lack of a better term, I was dating jailbait, but it wasn't something that was ever discussed. Like, it was never, oh, you can't date her because she's 16 and you're 19. You didn't think about that because I was just a high school kid.
Right.
So on your scenario with a 16-year-old boy and a 24-year-old teacher, like we just said, like, holy shit, way to go. That's every teenage boy's dream to diddle their, hot little teacher. And I'm sure the second part of that question is if it was a girl diddling a male teacher, right?
Correct.
Because in that case, motherfucker, line up, get the pitchforks and shotguns. We're going hunting.
Agreed.
And
I'm not even a parent. I agree.
Right? But and the irony of that is, if you look at both those 16-year-old kids, chances are the girl is much more mature than the boy is at that age, because the girls just, once they hit that puberty thing, I think they just automatically kind of grow up and mature because, they turn into women when that happens. And I think on a whole, women are more mature than men are on so many different levels until we reach, adulthood.
I agree.
But yeah, that would be my response. As dickish as it sounds, it's what, I don't know what the word is. Double standard. That's absolutely double standard. Now, where'd that come from? That was just a random conversation that popped up?
So I
think
that
shit happens, right, all the time.
I think somehow it was brought up that teacher, was it in Florida, or that Mary Kay Letourneau, the one that basically had the kid's baby. They started dating when he was like 13.
Oh.
And then they ended up getting married after he got out of high school.
Right? 13 years, yeah. Right. Yeah, I think it's wrong dating a student that's 13.
I
right? Especially, I mean, because he's 13. That's not mature enough to understand what he's doing.
morally, I think it's wrong all around. I'm just saying from the standpoint that unless in your scenario or my scenario, the 13-year-old boy, I agree that's way too young.
Mm-hmm.
He might be able to be manipulated to the point where the woman could actually rape the man. After about 14 or
Absolutely.
15,
Absolutely.
there's very few scenarios where the teacher, even at 24, 25 years old, as a woman, is going to be able to rape a man. So most of those boys are going to go into those relationships willingly. I agree with you that the girl is going to be more
Right.
mature because those relationships are never going to
Mm-hmm.
take place if she's not complicit with it. You know, they're far more apt to
Correct.
go
Right.
running to some kind of authority if they're not cool with what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which that makes it even
And I
more
think the other
devious.
thing with the male side of right, and the other thing with the male side of it, I think the male, from a male point of view, I think the you don't know who to run to and tell. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like girls would be listened to. Hey, Mr. Jones is diddling me in the classroom. This isn't right. I feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And then parents automatically listen to that shit. Like what? But I think when it's a boy, if a boy went and approached that to the peer or not the peer, but to an elder, adult figure, whatever, I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be interpreted the same way. More, oh, you're lying there, Johnny. You don't really know. They're not really doing that. She's just flirting with you. You're misinterpreting things, and because that's society. There's a double standard with boys and girls. It always has been. There always will be. You know,
And
that's just how it is.
I
Regardless, I
guess
mean, no
that's
means no,
the
and no is no. Yeah.
I guess that's the other side of the argument that I didn't bring up that you just made very clear to me. That's exactly what would happen. And to take it a step further, their friends, most of them, would
Mm-hmm.
crucify him for being a wuss, you know? Oh, you fucking pussy. You're screwing
Yeah.
the
Oh,
hot
yeah.
teacher and
The
you
kid would get. Yeah.
narked her out,
Oh.
you know? Oh my God.
Oh.
What kind of moron are you?
Absolute. Look at. Let's. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go back and rock and roll folklore. Right. Van Halen's "Hot for Teacher." That video was all about stripper looking teachers, and they had the little adolescent versions of themselves, right? That was the genius of that video, man. The little David Lee Roth and little Michael Anthony's and Eddie's and Alex, right?
Still a great video.
It was like spot on mini me's, but that was, oh, absolutely. But that completely innuendoed sexual relations with a hot teacher. Like,
It innuendoed
it's
my
kind of
whole
like
argument.
this going off a different path. Right, and it's kind of like with Pearl Jam when they dropped Jeremy video, the school shooting. That was before all those school shootings happened, so it always kind of surprised me that nobody went back, to that video or similar things where artists would write about that kind of traumatic event with kids and schools and guns, right? Um, because back then it wasn't, and back then anything that music did, especially in the Tipper Gore era, and was Al Gore with Clinton, right? Al Gore's
Yeah,
Clinton's VP,
absolutely.
and Tipper was all about parental advisory, and that kind of shit happened back then. The whole world comes to an end because, oh my God, the demise of Dee Schneider, right? This Twisted Sister lead singer who was all over the place when he was fighting that shit. That took them down a notch. Because wait a minute, you're a fucking hard rock, ugly as hell, evil, weird looking lead singer, made up, and you're sitting here in Congress saying you're a Christian and you pray to God and you have two daughters and you've been married for, I don't know how many years he's married by then. That's what people couldn't understand. That's a separation of church and state, right? Like Metallica
Right.
is not fucking Satan worshipers. They're death metal. They're speed metal. They created metal the way we know it today.
Correct.
But everybody takes that little, what you don't understand, darkness, and they twist it around. When I was in Young Life, I remember the leaders were thought, oh, Metallica's evil. We're going to go to a Metallica concert and pray. I'm like, you're so fucking naive, man. and we had Poison was pretty big around the time I was in Young Life, and Bret Michaels' song came out, or their song came out, Something to Believe In, and there's that part in the song where I don't know if it's real or not, but they made it look real in the video that he lost his best friend in Palm Springs one night in a hotel
That's a
room,
true
right?
story.
Because you automatically assume overdose. Okay. And you automatically assume overdose, and he was kind of shedding a tear in the video. And I remember the Young Life leaders, the group I was with, they were just fucking laughing and mocking that. I'm like, why are you mocking something that could possibly, somebody died and this guy is writing a song and he's searching for something, and you're mocking the fact that he's showing emotion about this part in the song. So that kind of stuff, the
I'm
Christians
sure
and all
that
those kind
song
of
has
things,
saved so many lives. We have no idea.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
It's whatever
I
you
heard
think
the, I
about
heard the,
whatever you think about Bret Michaels or Poison, that song moves you, and if it doesn't, there's something wrong with you. It's just a
yep.
excellent, well composed.
Yeah.
It does what it's supposed to do.
Oh yeah.
It's uplifting. That's the word I was looking for. Uplifting.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the original version of it sucked. Like I heard one of my roommates one time had this really cool rare Poison thing, and on the album was the original demo cut of that, and it was fucking stupid. So I'm sure producers came into him and like, dude, you got to fucking rewrite this thing because it was dumb. His original lyrics and the harmony and the vocals and the melody and stuff was the same, but lyrically it was the stupidest fucking song I've ever heard in my life.
Well,
So I don't know if Bob Rock did that album or not, but whoever
we did when we wrote songs,
whoever produced that one changed it.
A lot of times
Yeah.
we would change each other's stuff. You would give me ideas, I would give you ideas.
Sure.
Scott would give you ideas, you would give him ideas. That's why it worked, and the songs became what they became, where they became their own entity. It wasn't just a guitar part and a drum part and a vocal part. It was a song by the end of it. It didn't start out that way, at least for me. It usually started out as a riff. I'm sure his was very much the same, where it was basic, and the band has a lot to do with it. And you're right, man. A good producer will take it over the top.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very rare. I think I changed any of my words. I may have restructured a couple things to make it fit, like syllable wise and beat wise, but I don't. Once I wrote a song lyrically, I don't, because I have them all, right? I have all the original writings, and there's a lot of scratching out and rewriting and changing. It's there.
No, I think we would just change the amount of times things were done.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, but that was See how we went off the tangent, man? Squirrel, Van Halen, Poison, Something to Believe In.
It's all good. Everything relates
and
back
then,
to
and
music.
then you have the other facet of that now, because it does. And then you have the other angle of this. You have the boy diddling the female teacher, and the female teacher diddling the boy teacher, and then you have male teacher, female student, right? But now you have the male and the female. So what's the context of kind of that? How would that impact the same kind of conversation? Because it's so accepted now. Sexuality is what it is. Like, I mean, I don't know how naive I am about that, but I think it's more socially accepted, regardless, gay, straight, bi, lesbian, whatever, than it was 30 years ago. And again, I don't know if that's an accurate statement or not, but it's more prevalent in everything we see, right? There's we were at my friend's house yesterday, walking her land, and she had two ducks in a baby pool going at it, and what funny was they were both females. Like, okay, well, that doesn't work. Or they were both males, and then there was two pigs diddling each other, and they were both females. I'm like, okay, so even in the animal kingdom, animals are gay, or are they just being animals, right? So what's worse, a female teacher taking advantage of a female student, or a male teacher taking advantage of a male student? See, to me, it's the male on male.
I think it's all the same. Still, you're looking at it from two different perspectives. If I'm looking at it from this part of the country, if you're asking somebody from the Midwest these questions, they're like screaming right now.
Yeah.
It's all fucked up, But
yeah.
for me, morally, that person at even 16, 17 years old isn't ready to make that kind of life decision, because I thought I was. And I think about myself at that age, and I knew a lot about music and a lot about playing guitar, but other than that, I was dumb as fuck. You know, I didn't know what the rest of my life was going to bring.
Right.
But luckily I had people that were smarter than I did that
Yeah.
were raising me, that, you know, gave me really good wisdom, because if I didn't
Sure.
have that, I would have made way more mistakes than I did, and I made plenty. So I'm looking at it from that perspective.
Yeah. Well, everybody does. And the other, yeah. Well, the other flip side to that, it's all morally wrong, and I get that, and I totally agree with that. Anybody who diddles anybody under the age of 18 is just, you know. But that goes
But I
back
still
to
give
this
the boy an
thought.
award.
So you're 17.
I'm an enigma, man. You're
So
not going to figure me out.
Here's a weird little thought. Here's
You will.
right.
Nobody else.
So here's the weird thing. So 17, right? 17, you don't think that your mind is right enough to make crucial decisions in life. So, but then when you turn 18, all of a sudden you're adult. So an 18-year-old can enlist in the military, which we know my son did, and you know he's not an infantry or you know he's a Marine. So your Marines have this thing: you're a killer first. So what, regardless of what your gig is in the Marine Corps, you're a killer first. So you have to go to that part of training, and you have to understand how to be effective with your weapon and things like that. So at 16, 17 years old, you're considered not an adult in order to cognitively make those decisions that are rational with somebody over the age of 18 and the sexual stuff. But when you hit 18, you can go join the military and vote. So is it
But you
really
can't buy a
really
beer.
that much of a dramatic difference in mental growth from 16 to 18? Right. Well, in some
No.
states, right? But or in some countries anyway, in some countries. But that's what I'm saying. There's not enough of mental growth, I think, in the brain that you can make those decisions from 16 to 18. It just means you're society wise, you're an adult at 18, so you can do whatever you want. And the consequences are, well, if you get caught, right? Because if you're, I had girlfriends in high school from 18 to 19, and they were, shit you not, 16, 17 years old. I don't, half my graduating class didn't turn 18 till senior year. But I wasn't a deviant, right? I just, oh, she's
Right.
cute, so we'd go out, you know. But looking back on that, like if a dad knew that I was 19 years old picking up his daughter to go out on a Friday night and she was 17, and if he knew I was 19, was he really going to let me take his daughter out? You know what I mean?
Okay. So I lived
But
it in
nobody asked
reverse.
because they
I
just assumed
was
I was in high school. Yeah.
I was
Okay.
16. She wasn't a teacher, but she was old enough to drink. So we'll leave it at that. And of
Okay.
course, you know,
Yeah.
my parents knew they weren't happy, but what are you going to do? Because to your point, with all the things we've talked about, you raising kids through one of them joining the military and the other one going through other kinds of problems,
Mm-hmm.
it's not productive to fight somebody who's doing something destructive with their life. You know, you're just going to make that worse. So to their credit, they didn't fight me on it. They just
Yeah.
dealt with it. But there's, you know, laws against shit like that, and if they wanted to
Your
pursue them,
parents are
they could have.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, your parents are unique in that, from what I know about them and what we've talked about them, they're very unique in the fact. I mean, I don't know because I didn't have two parents, right? I had one. So, and Nikki grew up with an evil step monster. So, you know, I have nothing to pull off of and compare to, but I just think based on what I know about your parents, based on our conversations, I think they're different than most, and on many different levels on how they've maintained their love for you and the relationship with you, even though you struggled and went through chaos when you did. And that thing right there you just talked about, like if Skylar, or I don't know, I think if both either one of my kids from a father's standpoint, fuck no. You're 16, you're 17, they're over 18, you're not going, no, hell no, absolutely not. Like
Right.
step back. You know what I mean? There's just no way, because it's like you said, it's morally, it's wrong. And there's nothing good can come out of that relationship. Now, that being said, Nikki and I are 5 years apart. So if I met her when I was 19, she would have been what, 14 years old. There's there's no way I'd ever even second. I would looked at her twice, right? But when I met her, she just turned 21, and it was just 25 or going to turn 25. So that's a whole difference of gap in age. So when you surpass 18, it doesn't matter the gap in age.
Right.
And
Agreed.
it's that under 18 thing that is a mind fuck for sure. And the maturity level, I think, too. And a lot of kids, I don't know nowadays, but back in our day, like you had to go up and approach the girl and talk to her and say, "Hey, you want to go out? I'm Chris." You couldn't. There's no hiding behind text and emails and
Right.
it's passing notes under the desk. Jay Galsband reference. And can you find out if Stacy likes me? Hey Dave, it's all that weird little innuendo shit we used to have to do to hook up with somebody.
George Strait, check yes or no.
But now I don't know. Yeah, exactly, right. So I don't know how it, because I've never really had the conversation with Jake about how it was like dating nor Sky when they were growing up, because that wasn't my thing. I don't know if Nikki did or not, but I would give Jake advice on how to be respectful and stuff to girls, right? And I think Nikki and I both gave them a really strong example of how two people, can last and have mutual respect for one another, and it's the love's obvious, and like we were doing this thing last night trying to figure out how to make sure our bed is set in the bedroom right for feng shui. So we looked up this thing about feng shui and where's the bed supposed to face? Is it east, west, north, south, east, west, right? As fucked up as it sounds. Well, you have to have the bed in a commanding position. In a commanding position, you have the headboard set up against a solid wall. So you're not allowed to have windows and shit. It's just supposed to be a solid wall. And you don't want it facing out the door, but you want to be able to see out the door, because you want to be able to see things coming and going.
I can see the
you
door.
Can't have any clutter under the bed.
Nope.
Right. You have to open. It requires fresh air. Not 24/7, obviously, but bring fresh air in.
Yep.
To your room through the windows. Don't, because I was like, oh, let's put the bed on my whole thing started with I wanted to sleep upside down, because I'm just weird like that. Let's like sleep on the other side of the bed.
Upside down.
Upside down. She's like, no.
What do you mean?
Well, let's feng shui it. Hey, well, so you sleep at the footboard with your head instead of the headboard at the head. I was like, let's just turn around and sleep upside down.
I don't know if I can do that either.
And she's like, no.
That fuck with my head.
I was like, let's feng shui it.
If I was super drunk, maybe.
So then we feng shuied it, and that would have been completely wrong. Right. You're not supposed to face north. North is bad.
Mine faces east.
It's just got to be a commanding. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, we face east. Our footboard faces east.
But I have a window there
against the west. You got to get off the window, man. You got to have a solid wall, Mike.
I don't want my headboard against the wall that is where my shower is.
Why not? You don't hear yourself shower when you're sleeping because you're sleeping.
Someday I hope somebody else other than me lives
I could
here.
see if you were in
I
the
still
shower
have
while
hope, brother. I still have hope.
Well, I know you do. But I'm just saying, then when they shower, you're going to be showering with them. So it's a moot point. You just, and you want to know when they're done with the shower so you can be ready. You know what I mean? So
okay,
you got to look at it that way, man. It's like, oh, she's in the shower. Like I hear the shower go on, we have our little conversation, and I'm going to take a shower. I'm like, all right, So then I'll wait till I know when she hits the shot. Yeah.
I'll go down this rabbit hole with you,
man. Come on.
Why can there be no window there? You know me, I'm not a big believer in all that nonsense. But
no,
it might be true.
That's just what it said. That's just what it's. I don't know. That's just what it said. It said have the bed on a solid wall with no windows.
I would have to know why.
It's kind of like you don't have a staircase.
Oh,
yeah,
I know why.
I
know why.
Later.
No. I can answer this.
Why?
It's because you can't have when you sleep. You can't have a portal for the good energy to escape out of the room. That's why you need to be able to see the door.
There you go.
But not be. I don't have any option.
Right.
My room cannot be feng shui. I will never be able to open my closet. That's the only way it can happen.
Gotcha.
That's how quickly my
Makes
mind
sense.
just processed my bedroom.
And the other thing, yeah.
It can't happen.
All right, good. That's good. The other thing too about feng shui, you don't want to have a staircase leading out the front door because then all your
Yes.
wealth goes out the door.
Yes, I have heard that too.
Yeah, I've known that forever. Yeah. So there you go, kids. That's your feng shui highlight of the day.
So can I put my
Which when I woke up this morning, I had no intention of talking feng shui with you, Mike. Absolutely, put them in.
My 2 cents is every 2 cents that is in every account that I have, I put in there with my blood, sweat, and tears, and it's going to stay there till I spend it, whether I have my staircase at my front door or not. That's my 2 cents.
Right.
I'm just going to leave it there.
Right.
Just because
There
I
you go.
think about how fucking
Well,
hard
you
I
can
work
always
to
put a
save
wall
every
up.
penny I have.
Mm-hmm.
It was me.
Oh,
man. It was me.
Yep. Yeah, you and me both. Yeah.
But I do like
Yep.
talking about that stuff, just like I like talking about UFOs, because I want to believe so bad in stuff like that.
Right. Well, you may not have seen it last night, but did you guys see the SpaceX rocket, one of his Elon Musk rockets launching from California? Probably not, because it's too far away.
No, but I saw the highlights, on the news stuff, whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty
Facebook.
Cool. Michael Fry Jr. was just coming home with the kids. Yeah, they were just coming home, and he texted me. He's like, "Hey, dude, come outside. There's a rocket taking off." I'm like, "Right on." So we went out there and grabbed little man. Little man we were talking about how the rocket ship's going into space. It's going to land on the moon to see the astronauts. And I was like, "Absolutely, little man, absolutely."
That's awesome.
And then we found the moon, because he likes the moon and stars. And we talk about how the sun wakes up and the moon goes to sleep in space. That's how the day starts. Day ends with the sun and the moon. Then he'll start singing, "Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun."
I like this
He's
kid.
a crack up, man. And then he won't let you sing it with him. Then you try to sing it with him. He's like, no, Papa,
no.
sing it.
Yes.
My bad. Go ahead, little man, sing away.
He's like, I got this. This is a solo presentation.
I'm in. Exactly. Exactly. So we got a gopher trap now because we got gophers. I told you that, right? We got a gopher somewhere. So
hold on,
gopher trap.
Hold on.
We're gonna see if we catch the gopher or not.
Put the gopher in the back of your gopher trap. You know that March 7th. You know that March 17th was the
back,
March 17th was the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights, which I saw with my own 2 eyes. So I was there.
Oh, I
$19.97.
heard something about that. I don't. And the Phoenix Lights was the UFO. They claim UFO sighting, right?
Yes. That Luke Air Force Base tried to say was training flares.
I didn't. Right.
Yeah. No way. It was training flares.
Or weather balloons, right?
It was definitely not weather balloons.
No, because I've seen the footage of it, but I don't recall it that in that year at all. But yeah, we have ghost. We still have the ghost. We talked about the ghost before, right? We found so little man and I were doing a puzzle one morning, right? And a piece went missing, and legit, we turned every page in this puzzle book, and the puzzle was gone, like legit gone. The puzzle piece. So Nikki got home. I'm like, I can't find this puzzle piece. She flipped through the book, nowhere to be found, like legitimately nowhere. She's on spring break, so when she's on the spring break, she goes through every room and kind of just deep cleans and moves furniture and shit. Okay. And the reason I say that is we still haven't found the remote the ghost moved. She found a sock. I was missing a sock, and it was behind the entertainment center. So don't know how the hell it got behind not the entertainment center, behind the table that's in front of, on the same wall as a TV. And it made no sense because it was literally behind that table. So the ghost moved that. The ghost still has the remote control. Little man wanted to put these puzzles together. We had him and his brother Friday. I think it was Friday, yeah. Or maybe Thursday. It was someday last week we had him.
You still haven't found a remote?
He moved the puzzle book. No. he moved the puzzle book, and then 3 of the puzzles came out. It's basically a construction. It's a construction puzzle book. So you have it's about this big, pretty hefty size puzzle book, and the pieces are big, because they're made for 4 or 5-year-olds. And the construction vehicles, dump truck and excavator and skid steer and all that kind of jazz. So he knocked it over, and so 3 puzzles all came out. We're like, fuck, so I'm trying to put it back together. I don't have the patience for that. So Nikki put them all back together later that night, and all the pieces were there for every single puzzle. And she came and she's like, "You're not gonna believe this." And I was like, "What?" So she opened up. It's like, they're all there. I'm like, "It's fucking insane," because legit, we looked and we couldn't find it. Like I thought the dog ate it. I looked under all the bar stools. I looked under the couch that can move. That shit just bizarre, man. Just really, really, really bizarre. That all of a sudden, puzzle pieces back. Yeah,
So
still can't find the remote.
speaking of the remote, we'll get Mama Kay on here sometime to tell her story about her makeup bag that disappeared for 2 years and reappeared out of nowhere, right where it was,
Right on.
right where it was supposed to be all along. So maybe your remote will still show up, is what
crazy.
she'll tell you. Yeah, that's a true story.
Okay, that would be, a trip, dude. That would be a trip.
And obviously, she knows all the details.
Right
it's a crazy story because she's got witnesses. My dad's been there all along, and it was gone, and they searched their house high and low. It's like you live somewhere long enough, you're in every crevice of the house, and it was never there, and then all of a sudden it just popped back up. So I don't know how stuff like that happens. I think that's proof of many dimensions.
Another dimension.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just another dimension, man. Like her alternate dimension self needed makeup, so she reached through the portal and whoosh, give me that.
Yeah. So I just recently heard a fact.
Done with it 2 years later, and boom. Okay, cool.
If you want to talk about the
bomb.
definition of infinity, you just described it.
Okay.
Infinity is not just that the universe and everything is expanding into an unknowing, right? That's what everybody thinks infinity is. Infinity's one step further than that.
Right.
Infinity is that everything is ever expanding, and that every possibility that could ever happen in your life has already happened. To the point of somebody
that's a trip
in an alternate dimension needed that makeup bag at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And that was a glitch in the matrix. Yeah. We all think, are we living in a simulation, right? That's a question that has been asked by physicists.
Right.
Heavily in the last 6 to 8 years, right?
Yeah.
This isn't just people that are talking crazy anymore. This is Harvard physicists, Cambridge physicists over at Oxford, England, that are saying, is this a simulation? Because they found error correcting computer code in our DNA, which is what made them start thinking, how far does this mind fuck, for lack of a better term, go?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is the definition of infinity, is everything that ever could have happened in your life has already happened.
That's a trip. I like that.
Yes. Fucking crazy.
Remember that show Sliders? Remember that TV show Sliders?
Oh yeah, I like that show.
Like the cheeseburger sliders, but Yeah. Yes. That was that. Because they would go from what do they call it? A parallel universe.
Yes.
That was a trip. I like that show. That was a good show. That was a really good show. Then they got another version of it. I don't think it lasted. It's like you can't remake this shit, man. Like just stop it. Come up with your own original idea, man. Or use the idea, but completely change the premise and how it's approached, because it's just stupid. The new one. It was Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap they remade. I'm like, you can't remake.
I didn't like the new Quantum Leap.
No, I didn't. Maybe watched it for 5 minutes because it was just blasphemy. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Not gonna happen. Not this juncture. Nope.
You know what
Kind
I
of like
did
Roadhouse.
finally?
They made a Roadhouse. Did you know that they remade
It,
Roadhouse?
yes, it's coming out on Netflix, right?
But it's not. It's gone. No. Yeah, it's not going to the movies because they won't take it to the movies, which they shouldn't because that's just fucked up, man.
That's blasphemy.
You know, certain things you just don't remake. Certain things
Roadhouse.
you just don't remake.
Listen,
They're
man,
coming. They're coming back.
Roadhouse is
Right.
the best, worst movie in the history of the universe. It's living
Right.
proof that people were doing lots
Yep.
of cocaine at that moment in time in the 80s. That's what that whole movie's about. It all started with, look, I got a great idea for a movie.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Don't worry, Patrick Swayze's going to have his shirt off a lot.
Yeah. Right. Right. Dude, he was so ripped, man. He was short though too. He was only like 5'8", so like you might as well be ripped being that short.
He was
Dude was
built like a
lean and
brick
fit.
shithouse
Sucks
in
that
that
he
movie.
died of just yeah. Yeah, he was. I think he always was. He was just ripped, man. Sucks that cancer destroyed him and killed him off because he was a cool guy. I always thought he was a cool human, you know.
Yes.
I don't know anything. I don't know him personally, but I always kind of thought he was a cool human. Just, you know, how he was. Nikki told me the other day, speaking of cool humans, Mark, you know, Mark Wahlberg, apparently he's not doing any more movies unless they're family friendly because his kids have reached that age, you know. Yeah, he's not doing any more movies unless they're family friendly. Like his latest movie is we saw the preview. We went and saw Imaginary over the weekend. Wait for it on Netflix. It could have been so much better. They could have done so much more with it. It was like a Chucky but a teddy bear. But the bear didn't kill you. The bear just kind of was weird possession.
Is it animated?
But yeah, no, it's real life. It's real people.
Oh.
It's just it wasn't the greatest thing ever. But we saw that preview and I'm like, huh, that's interesting. You know.
This is Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, so Mark Wahlberg's movie is he's it's an ultra race team. They do like 453 miles in 10 days and they find this dog. This dog, they see this dog at like the first day of this race, which again, basically you got to go 45 miles a day for 10 days. Every day for 10 days. And it's a group. And then like they have this map. So up here they met the dog and then 3 days later, all of a sudden they're here and then they run into the dog again. They're like, what the fuck? So the dog ends up being like their little mascot shit. But that's what he's doing now. He's doing movies that are family friendly for his family, which I moved his fucking family out of Beverly Hills. They're gone. They're out of California. Like just, I'm out,
I can respect that.
If he's seeing chaos and shit. Yeah. I mean, if you're seeing just the dredge of society where you live, which I can't imagine Beverly Hills and Hollywood not being anything but the dredge, two-faced people and fucking backstabbing galore, right? Because
I couldn't Hollywood.
Do it. And there's this other dude. Yeah, there's this other dude.
I got a good question for that while you're on that.
Do you ever watch? Okay, did you ever watch that show Suits?
Oh, I love that show. Absolutely.
Okay. So the DA, the white-haired DA guy. I forget his name as an actor. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, absolutely.
That Harvey ended up punching towards the end. Okay.
Yep.
That guy has like the most upstanding morals ever for an actor. Like he won't do sex scenes. He's married. He's been married forever. He won't do anything that is regarding to any type of relationship with another woman. And there's just certain things he won't do because of his family and his wife and his kids. I'm like, that's fucking cool. So, and to be doing it as long as he's done it, to have that line in the sand, I thought was cool.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Wahlberg for if Nikki's the one that told me that. So I don't blame him for doing that shit. I mean, well, why not? You got enough money, fucking take your kids to, Indiana, go live next to John Mellencamp, be in a small town.
The only reason that I hesitated was because the fan in me, the fan in you wants to say, don't be a wuss.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
he's welcome to raise his kids however he wants, because I live by the code that
right.
I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you're going to have a rough time telling me what to do too. You know, I get to live my life however I want. And as long as I'm not hurting anybody, you should be able to do the same. No, you know, I've said it before on this podcast and I'll say it 100 more times. No adult human should tell another adult human how to live their life unless they're bringing harm to someone else, you know? Who gives a fuck what somebody's doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't like what he's wearing, man. Why's he got to wear that? Who fucking cares? Maybe you don't like what you're wearing.
Who cares? Right. And I don't like, yeah, I get tired of him pimping his clothing line, municipal, whatever it is, you know, but I mean, that's, you know,
I'm just talking about people in general.
But I mean, oh no, I know. And that's the thing, but everybody's got eyes on everything nowadays. It's insane. You can't just live your life anymore. There's, you know, everybody's a critic.
You need more people like us who say
people are judging us for this show.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Who cares?
Let it be, man. Just let it be.
You know what I say?
Yeah, just let it be. You live your life, you know.
Make your own show. You can say whatever you want. That's why we made this show, so we could say whatever we wanted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no rules here.
Yep, exactly. It doesn't matter. Not at all. There shouldn't be.
So my question was,
the thing about living in America.
I can't even remember.
Yes.
I can't even remember what you. Yeah, I can't even remember what you said that led me to ask this question. But this was another topic of conversation that I was going to present to you. That oddly enough, whatever you said prompted that thought. So, have you ever met somebody that you know instantly is fake as fuck? Right. Everything they say might have 1% truth in it and 99% of it is bullshit. But here's the caveat. They're one of the nicest people you ever want to meet.
Okay.
Why do people have to be like
that's
that?
Interesting.
They lie constantly, dude. Constantly. And everyone knows it except them.
I don't yeah.
What makes somebody do that?
I've ever met somebody like that, but they're insecurities, man. Insecure. Everything comes back to being insecure. If you're not secure in who you are, I think that opens a whole can of whoop ass for all kinds of things to be brought in, right?
I'm going to agree with that.
Dress. Oh, it's a beautiful dress. You know, I have a white one. Well, right there, she doesn't have a white one because it's one of a kind handmade dress we found in.
Okay, we're going to pause here. I did. Okay. He's going to refresh his browser here because this thing just fucking died on us again. We were trying to do a little experiment to see how far we could get. At least I was, whether he knew it or not. So hopefully this will actually jumpstart it back into recording again. So while he's refreshing his browser, you're still here. Is your counter going? Okay, so that means you're not recording. Okay, we're going to try something silly. No reason not to. It's a free podcast, people, so bear with us. We ran into some technical difficulties that did not arise when we started this podcast, I assure you. All of a sudden, we can't even get to an hour when we did 2 hours. Motherfuckers. Oh, that was powerful language. I apologize. Powerful. That's the kind of language I use on a regular basis, just so the rest of the world knows. Sounds that come from my mouth do not offend me, nor do they offend me from anyone else. Unless they're directed at someone that I care about. So what I was going to say is we're going to thank all the people who have been so engaging on Facebook. As
You
we
see
got
two of me?
recognized there. Now I see
Hello,
two
hello, hello,
Chris's.
hello, hello.
Ooh, there's an echo.
Wow. That's a
There's an
trip.
echo.
Oh,
Is your counter
there
going?
is an echo. Yeah, it's recording.
So that's what you need to do.
Just on the new.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine though. It'll merge them together. How do we get rid of your other one? Yeah.
I guess okay, I'm going to close it. All right, now I'm back, right?
Yeah. And your counter's going?
Okay. Yeah, that's weird, man. It still says my browser doesn't have enough storage, but I don't know how that's possible because I cleared it out. Now I'm back in a minute. See, now it said close other Riverside browser, which I did. I closed it. We're going to have to find an alternative.
Yes.
This is stupid.
Agreed.
It is stupid.
It
doesn't make sense because I literally signed into the Chris and Mike Gmail page, and that's what I was on because there's nothing else associated with that Gmail, like nothing. No
I'll check
windows
out
open, just that. And then, yeah, and then when I did what I did, so you know what I did, so you can tell them, I copied the URL and then opened up another one and then pasted it and